I feel like there should have been a scene in Haven of Mama Troi just doing Ethel Merman songs.
Oh.
Just seems appropriate.
There should have been a scene in Haven where the writers walked on screen and apologized.
Oh. Let's talk about it now.
Hello, and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, episode 61.
Woo! Woo! Sorry, Caitlin was laughing and I was confused.
What? No.
Unfortunately, Jake isn't introducing this one, because if he was, you'd probably get some really neat, like, semi-improvised, like, gangster intro. I tried to think of one, but I'm just not that funny.
I'm sorry,
I did
gangster
that before.
intro?
Like what I did
old-timey gangster,
like
not,
what I did
not
for Piece of the
Gangster's
Action.
Paradise.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Been spending a star life living in a holodeck paradise.
There it is. It
Nice.
all works now.
So this week, we will be looking at Haven and The Big Goodbye. So in Haven, the Enterprise is stopping off at the titular planet Haven for some R&R. It is...
This summary's already too long.
It's,
Troy's getting married and they all fight. That's the whole episode.
Whoa.
No, it isn't.
Yeah.
Because
Plague
the planet
ship.
Haven,
Oh, and also
yes,
there's some
plague
plagues.
ship.
That's it.
Plague ship.
Mama
Troi.
Troi.
Mama Troi and her creepy, I think, black contact lenses.
I was like wondering about those.
The second...
Cork in a box.
Was that Armin Shimmerman?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And our second appearance of a Lurch.
Yep.
That is the movie Lurch.
Oh.
As Mr.
Roboto.
Hum.
Tom, thank you.
He gets
Lurch
ready to
is-
great hummers.
But yes, they go to Haven. It's revealed that Troi was like betrothed to some human fella with a weird haircut, and now, you know, the time has come for the wedding. Mama Troy's no longer into the idea. Boyfriend isn't super into the idea because he's been having psychic visions of a lady his whole life, which he assumed would be Troi, and then it wasn't. And he was like, this is awkward. But they kind of hit it off anyway, and Riker's a whiny little shitlord about all this.
God.
Seriously, Riker, fucking grow the beard already. And then, yeah, a plague ship shows up, and it turns out the girlfriend is there, and boyfriend beams over, so now he's gonna stay with the plague people, and the problem is solved, and Mama Troi makes Picard feel super awkward. In The Big Goodbye, we get our first major TNG, since we did watch TAS, holodeck malfunction. This one caused by a scan by the... I don't know, horrible bug people.
I don't know. I call it a malfunction when Wesley fell in that river and didn't drown in the premiere.
True. But yeah, so they're heading off to this really high stakes diplomatic function with these asshole bug monsters who are super polite, and like every super polite species you meet in science fiction, they're assholes to everyone else. It's like this really like just hypocritical thing. And Picard has to perfectly enunciate this greeting.
Alright, we'll get there.
Perfect.
Gesundheit?
But they got a lot of time, so he bops onto the holodeck to play Dixon Hill, his shiny new PlayStation game. And,
He's gonna go play with his dick.
He would put his dicks in
Hill.
some kind of hill.
you know, there's a malfunction, and of course people are stuck in there.
The pubic mound.
Wow, we're still talking. That's amazing.
So yeah,
Mons pubis.
he's not on Mars. Anyway.
That was good.
Thank you. But yeah, so him, Data, the ship's fiction expert, and Dr. Crusher wind up stuck on the holodeck, and the bullets are real now.
He was a MacGyver's. That's what he was.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, he was like a historian who really wanted to bang Khan.
Yeah.
He wanted to bang the mob boss there, Mr. Wish he had it
Sydney
back.
Greenstreet, yeah.
The kingpin.
But the short version basically is everyone's fine. They get off the holodeck just in time. Picard has to look ridiculous while simultaneously looking amazing because the man can pull off an old-timey suit like no one else.
So
while
can
doing
fucking
the
Data.
Yeah, no, they both
Data
like,
looks fucking great.
it's like, why aren't they just both dressed like that all the time?
Yes. Or naked.
And yeah,
It'd be
and
fun.
so
Listen,
everything...
Listen, this isn't the Troy's wedding, so
Yeah.
That's true.
And, and everything's fine. But it's, best
Wesley saves the day.
Fuck you, Wesley.
best introduction we've ever done, I think. So
It was really good.
let's go from there.
Haven is a place on Earth.
So, so here's a huge problem with Haven right off the bat.
not enough Armin Shimmerman.
That too. Second huge problem right off the bat.
Too much Troy?
No. I am in no way invested enough in either Troi as a crew member or Troi and Riker's alleged relationship to give a fuck about anything.
But Troi is interested in Riker's member.
And, the other problem is, Troi, Marina Sirtis and whoever played Dr. Sketchbook actually had, a decent amount of, they did a good job being sort of, we're meeting and this is sort of awkward, but we're kind of starting to hit it off.
Oh, they were great together. I loved
I
them
actually
together.
was kind of you two, in my mind, in your 10 minutes on screen together, already make more sense to me than her and Riker possibly could have.
Yeah, they have zero chemistry, her and Riker. I'll say this. If there's one thing this episode made very clear to me, it's that there is a reason why Captain Picard specifically was assigned a ship's counselor and keeps her on the bridge, and it's because he has absolutely no empathic sense whatsoever.
True.
In the scene where she comes to him and says, her and Riker are there, and she's like, yeah, I'm in this arranged marriage, and she's obviously very upset about it and not into the idea whatsoever and looks forlorn. Picard is like, well, congratulations!
And are you guys going to stay on the ship or what? No? Okay.
My third note on the episode, I can't even pretend to care, Picard.
Yeah.
I feel like if it's either that he just doesn't care or it's just, on the opposite end of the spectrum, it's sort of he can tell. He's like, oh, I am so bad at these kinds of things. Gotta go!
Because I'm a sociopath.
I was gonna say because he's British, but he's supposed to be French.
I mean, I'm bad at those sorts of situations. I could totally relate to, seeing that and just going, I'm gonna pretend I don't realize this is bad. I gotta go!
He's the captain. He can just fucking leave.
Yeah.
Why is the captain the one doing this?
They were in... Yeah.
He leaves people in his ready room a lot. I've noticed. He just lets people stay in his office.
Someone's
See ya!
gonna dump on his desk one of these days.
Well, that's why the real reason he has to change the model from a Constitution to the Stargazer. It's not because
someone did their
retcon.
constitutional.
I was gonna say someone knocked it over. One of those fucking kids with the fucking Chinese finger traps from a few weeks ago, ran in and broke the thing.
Little fuckers.
Assholes.
Yeah. I thought that the wedding invitation or whatever the herald,
that horrifying.
Yeah, what an inefficient way of sending a message. We're gonna make this box with a human face on it that can talk,
and then it's just gonna dump shit everywhere.
and it makes a mess.
Aw, poor Armin Shimmerman.
It's funny though because I was like, is that no?
I wouldn't have recognized him if I hadn't read it earlier.
Well, the voice is very much. He's doing a little more a little higher than he really is, but it was just there was something about it. I was like, I am 80% sure that's Quark.
Yeah, Quark in a box.
Also, God, fucking again, maybe it's just a case of HD being unkind to it. But when Yar was like, these jewels, yeah, they're clearly made of plastic.
We got them out of a vending machine. We really wanted Skittles, but we had to go with these.
Oh man, I had so many little glass jewels like that when I was a kid.
A lot of Mancala sets.
No, I don't know. They were for art projects. My mother had a big bag of them that I'd put them on shit and just I love playing with it.
Were they flat back or were
they were
they
flat back?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd make little art things with jewels on it.
Well, see, you could have wound up betrothed to Deanna Troi.
I could have, apparently. If I knew that was a future dowry, I wouldn't have used it.
Oh, and as I realized this week, because I know I had said a few episodes ago that I don't think she ever calls Riker Bill again, I was wrong.
She did.
Came a couple times in the episode.
Bill,
it's still weird.
Yeah.
I mean, Riker himself, very, very bizarre this episode, but he starts off by watching a hologram of some harping women.
Yeah, like, what was that?
Was he
It was
jerking off?
He was getting ready. That's the thing.
So he got called up just as like they were about to slip
one
out.
Slip a nip.
No, he definitely seemed a little more disappointed than one would be for like just my tunes were interrupted.
Also, like, but who sits and like? I mean, I guess it's no different than watching like a concert DVD, maybe. I don't know.
You don't think watching a porn is different than watching a concert?
Well, no,
DVD?
but they were just playing music. I mean, obviously it was porn, and it just hadn't gotten. But who watches the beginning of the porn?
It was that 12-minute intro shit. Like, oh, here's the pizza.
Yeah.
Oh no, I left the money in the kitchen.
Fast forward, fast forward, fast forward, fast forward. Oh no, too far. Go back.
Yep. Nope. He's already inside of her. Gotta go back.
Well, you see, this is because they're an enlightened culture, so they actually watch the plot as well as the porn.
That's crazy.
So how do we get from harping to banging is my question.
There were two girls.
Well, so basically what happens is at one point, one of the harp strings breaks and, hits the flimsy clasp of the woman's shirt. It's like, oh no, my top is off. And the other one's like, let me help. And for some reason, she thinks motorboating will help. And the next
I was trying to think of a way to be like, but like,
yeah. So
I was going further downtown. I wasn't going for the motorboat.
You got to start and then work your way down.
Exactly.
But so it's so the process is harp string, motorboating, scissoring.
Yeah.
Great. We've established this. This is canon now.
But yeah, so that was weird. They say they don't have television in the future. Clearly getting rid of it was a mistake, because if that's what passes for entertainment, God save us.
Where's the boob tube?
What's that from?
That's from a future episode.
That's what I thought. But
Yeah.
Oh.
I wasn't sure if it was a past one and I had just forgotten.
It's a little
Pornhub will still
little
exist
Easter
in the
egg
future,
for
don't worry.
you listeners who know the show.
Yeah. Oh no.
Come on, I have to watch some harping.
So,
Wow, we're not even at the wedding ceremony yet.
I gotta say, because I was actually about to say the rehearsal dinner.
Oh my god, so awkward.
I wasn't getting to that part yet. Let's talk about the hair.
Whose hair?
Everyone had different hair. Everybody
had different hair.
listen.
Yar had crazy hair.
Richard Saber was nominated for an Emmy for hairstyling this episode.
Because
So that's what I was
he
gonna say.
did different hair. That's why.
Like, we actually kind of agreed. Like, at first, like, whoa, what do they do to Yar? And we're like, actually, that kind of looks better.
She does. It's a little more, even though it's probably more an earlier 80s hairdo, it somehow looks more contemporary.
I
Yeah.
didn't even notice Yar's hair.
Oh, yeah, no, it was like,
nice.
it was
Looked
sort of
nice.
bigger and spikier, and it's like, they do this all the time with her.
Oh.
Yeah, it was,
Someone should teach me how to do that shit. I wear that hair.
And yeah, and they had Dr. Crusher kind of doing a Dr. Quinn thing. It was
Yeah,
all
Dr.
up and bunched and Pioneer Woman, and Troi had that weird braid-em-a-bob going on.
The old braid-em-a-bob.
Jewels that matched her mother's hair jewels.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, when they
Nice.
both got on the elevator together, they both had like these red little.
That's
I hope you don't mind. I brought my pet monster plant.
Listen, I want a monster plant now.
Oh, I called it a bowtruckle.
He did.
What's that?
It's an absolutely adorable plant creature from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
It's like a walking stick. You ever seen the
Yeah,
walking
yeah,
stick
yeah.
bug? It's like them, except bigger and
And,
smarter.
and more humanoid in its sort of
Very
shape.
grabby. It's like,
Yeah.
what was Sulu's plant's name?
Beauregard.
Yeah,
Beauregard.
yeah. I wonder if they're related.
Aw, I miss
I
Beauregard.
wonder if they're related.
Well, I mean,
They're
similar-
cousins. Third cousins.
I
They
meant
see,
similar
they see
species.
each other every Thanksgiving.
Yeah, yeah. But yes, no, the awkward. So this episode was a mess, but there were two highlights.
Data.
Well, I was going to get to that.
Data.
First was everything, like, anytime Picard had to, like, be in an awkward situation, like when he was hauling around the luggage and the bit at the end, like...
Really? I got really irritated by that because it felt very out of place.
Oh, no, but just like, it did, but he just ran with it. It was kind of like how when you let Patrick Stewart be weird in The Naked Now, and in this, there's a similar sort of, this is actually completely wrong, but you're just so good at it, it delights me in spite of it. And yes, Data. Data's absolute, unbridled, just robot
Tactless.
erection over the awkwardness of the situation was
He
amazing.
fucking loved our new Lurch.
Yeah.
But who
Please
doesn't?
continue with the petty bickering, or whatever he said.
Yeah, that
I
was...
liked Lurch's overacted. I'm gonna look away from you.
Oh, because he called him on drinking so much?
Yeah.
Are you part human from how much you imbibe? And
Oh, how dare you, sir.
Rude.
But, like, that I didn't understand, sort of. Like, why?
Because he is very fancy, and how dare you suggest there's any human in him.
No. I understand why he's upset. I don't understand why Data thinks he's human. He doesn't look
Because
human.
he's making a joke that humans are drunkards.
Well, like, compared to Data, who can't drink? Like, what does he base it on?
Well, I mean, probably compared to a lot of other species.
But how many, like...
He's in the Starfleet.
Besides, we've seen other species. They all drink.
Yeah, but we don't know how much. So, based on what Data says, we can assume humans drink more than everyone else.
Is
And
the
I
only
believe it.
human whose drinking habits he knows about, like, Scotty's? Like, did he read about Scotty in the computer?
He's known other humans, and they're
Yeah.
not... Like, nobody else on the ship has an alcohol problem.
Maybe they're just better at hiding it.
Maybe that's why we haven't seen Argyle in a few weeks. He's on a bender.
I don't know. Data did meet McCoy in the premiere.
true.
Oh.
And he just realized, so you're the prototypical human.
If only, Data. If
Oh,
only.
true.
What a beautiful, perfect world that would be.
No Worf in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
No Wesley, I don't think either.
Was Worf in either of them, actually?
He was in the next one. He
Okay.
was at least in the conference room scene. I don't know if he did much else.
Yeah, no, see, this is one where Wesley might have been useful. I don't know. Just
I don't think
sitting
so.
there
No, because then it would get even more awkward because Loaxana Troi is just oozes sex whether you want her to or not.
True.
And then all the
I don't
discussion.
want to know what she oozes.
And then all the discussion of who's going to be
chair.
wow,
That's
who's going to be
probably-
naked at the ceremony. Wesley would just be there like, do I get to see some
Boing,
boobies?
That's probably why he wasn't there, actually. They probably wanted to, like, make it so that was not an issue. Not just him having, like, a boner about it, but, like, talking about adult nudity in front of the child.
Yeah, the censors wouldn't have been keen on
But
that.
wouldn't it have made more sense if they had, like, switched out Riker for Wesley in this episode and made Wesley the one that was pining after Deanna, and then it would
That
have been
would-
It would have
then
felt
it would
more
been-
age
It would have been a little
appropriate,
bit more
certainly.
cute that he was such a pansy about the whole situation.
Like, yeah, no, like, I mean, he was such a whiny little shitlord about it. It's like, what the fuck, asshole? You barely expressed any... Like,
His brooding level was Batman.
in the
this
first
for
episode,
sure.
it's established they kind of used to be a thing. We've had no indication since that there's any chance of it being rekindled. And all of a sudden, he's like, someone else is here. And it's like, what the fuck, Riker?
I did like future husband guy.
Wyatt.
But, yeah, I have to, like, I thought...
Wyatt Derp.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. I kind of felt like you're gonna get married. You're gonna marry Troi. She's hot. She's got a nice collarbone.
She looked like 10 or 15 years older than him, which was bizarre because Jake looked it up and realized that Marina Sirtis would have been like 32 at the time.
How old was he?
Oh, I didn't check.
Well, we don't give a shit.
Right.
I don't know, there's something
but,
about 80s hair and makeup that just made people look older than they were.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
But like his whole like, oh, you don't look like this girl from my dreams. It's like, I'm sorry. Are you disappointed in your real human woman, or not human, but real, like, physical human being person thing that you can touch and talk to?
And fuck, probably.
Well,
Probably.
being fair, like he said, he assumed because she was Beta Z and had psychic powers, that was her.
But, like, aside from this inkling that he had about it might maybe being psychic, whatever, this is basically, as far as he knows, just a fantasy. A weird fucking fantasy. And it's like, I don't know, it just felt kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like...
I guess it feels a little weird because it's a bizarre science fiction world.
You know, that's also that's a thing about men though. That's a man. That's a little known men thing. Men's fantasy brain is way more connected to what they expect from reality, I think.
That's
in general.
actually very true. Yeah.
Like,
Go on.
men are never content.
yeah, exactly. Like, Like, men get weird fucking ideas about things that they dream. I don't know if this happens to women, but and I don't know if it happens, maybe it just happens to me. I had a dream once where this was like years and years ago. And in fact, when I tell you who it is, that'll tell you why it was so long ago. I had this dream that I was dating Busey Phillips.
Who?
From Dawson's Creek.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that the actor's name or the character?
That's the actor.
Okay.
She was also
idea
later
who it
in
is.
Heroes.
I'm gonna look her up. Go on.
I had a dream that I was dating her, and then, like, in real life, I was like, man, I bet if only I could get in touch with her, we could actually date. And, like, I thought this for, like
This
days.
sounds like so you had a dream the other night too that Google took away your account and you woke up wondering if you could still get on your email.
Yeah, she's
Let me see.
she's older now.
But
that
okay.
chick.
But here's the thing. What's his name that tried to assassinate Reagan? Kind of thought, if I could just meet Jodie Foster, we'd totally be a thing. I'm gonna shoot Ronald Reagan.
Exactly.
So
actually,
exactly. That's my point. Wyatt is probably just he had this dream about this woman, and he's just like, oh, well, as soon as I meet this woman, we'll totally bone, and it's probably going to be that girl that I'm already going to marry. Wouldn't that be nice? And then it doesn't happen.
Weirdly, though, at the end of the day, he actually is right, unlike most men.
So let's talk about what's her name, Ariana. Yeah, Ariana the Trillion Girl. I actually really liked the side plot of this a lot with the plague ship. I thought that could have been very interesting to explore.
That should have been more in the forefront, probably.
Maybe, because it's a great idea of, like, this race destroyed themselves with germ warfare, and if you even get in contact with them, they will infect you too. They are a giant spreading virus.
Yep.
They might as well be extinct.
The whole thing was obviously an allegory for the AIDS epidemic. The whole episode, right? Like that.
I wasn't thinking the AIDS epidemic.
Absolutely.
I was thinking,
I hadn't thought of that.
But we didn't do that to
I was
ourselves.
thinking more like Cold War.
No, they were.
No, but the treating them like lepers thing.
Exactly.
Oh, gotcha.
Exactly.
I had not.
I was like, what are you talking about? We didn't have germ warfare and make AIDS.
I'm sorry. No. As we all know, the CIA created AIDS to try and kill, everybody who wasn't white. So, yes, we did.
So I'm going to tell you what the secret backstory to why this episode was written is.
Okay.
Because you know it, or you're just making it up?
Because he's making it up.
Okay,
but go on,
ahead.
Jake.
So somebody at
Star Trek HQ.
Star Trek
someone at
Incorporated.
Star Trek, possibly Maurice Hurley, I don't know, somebody not very good.
What was Maurice Hurley's role?
He was I think he was the EP or head writer, but he sucked.
Yeah, this is the guy that chased fucking Crusher away, right?
Yeah. But anyway, so let's just say they're in the writers' room, like, man, we got to do an AIDS episode, and they're like, oh yeah, we should totally do an AIDS episode. It's 87. That's a hot button thing. We can really take a sci-fi spin on that and really do something cool with it.
Have some good commentary.
So,
as long as it's not let that be your last battlefield commentary.
but then someone was like, but wait a minute, we can't really do an AIDS story without having a gay character, right? Because those stories kind of go hand in hand. And like, well, we can't do a gay character because fucking television in the 80s. We can't put gay people on TV. No way.
You're only allowed to be gay on television if you're Billy Crystal in Soap, where you're just a ridiculous parody.
Pretty sure there was a lesbian character on Golden Girls by 1987.
Anyway, the point is here's what they decided to do. They made Wyatt the gay character, but they couched it in him not being gay, just that he didn't want to marry the woman he was supposed to marry. He wasn't supposed to follow the straight and narrow path and marry Troi. He was attracted to the girl on the other ship, who in their original version would have been a man. And it wouldn't have been a plague-infested ship. It just would have been a gay ship, and he would have had to go to the gay ship. So he rejected societal norms, but everybody still accepted him for it. That's what happened.
I'm sure that's what happened, Jake.
Yeah, I just fun.
I mean, he might not be too far off in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to take the one string of thought that was possibly correct in there, and then weave a new tapestry around it, then yeah, that makes some sense.
Look at Mama Wyatt. I remember
who had a fucking awesome hat.
I remember sitting through half the episode.
Have you ever tried not being a leper?
Well, no, I was sitting there thinking, They just really went out of their way to make this woman just scream Nancy Reagan, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought she reminded me a lot of Glenn Close.
Or that. And then the ship, they're all in like these ridiculous party outfits for some reason. I hated the outfit they put Blondie in.
Well, I know why they didn't have Wesley in this episode, because that dude's fucking sweater. Like, that dude was wearing all of the Wesley sweater. The censors at NBC or wherever, whatever.
They would have to have...
It wasn't... Whatever. The censors at Paramount were like, nope, we can't have that many sweaters in this episode.
They would have to have fought to the death over the right to wear weird sweaters.
Yeah.
I'd actually watch that.
That was the worst sweater on the planet. Also, what's up with Transporter Chief Deep Voice?
What's up with the fact that his uniform didn't fit?
Yo, what's up with the fact that he sounded like Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs?
I gotta call the captain about that. I'm not doing the voice really. I'm just making it really deep.
But you're right. He had a weirdly deep voice, and I have
That's
a note.
just how the poor fuck talks. You guys are cruel.
Oh, no, I'm not
Why don't
saying
you talk
anything
about how
oafy.
stupid his face is?
He did have a stupid
He's got a
face.
shitty mouth and a nose or whatever it was.
He was kind of oafy. You know?
I mean, I didn't think he sounded oafy. I just thought he had a shockingly deep
He was
voice.
super oafy.
But I did have a note too that like they found the wrong size uniform for him. There were just a lot of wrinkles and creases. Like it was clearly a little too big.
They needed it to be extra big to put his schlong in.
See, what they needed then was the scant.
Mm.
Then it would have just been dangling beneath.
Oh. They can get a full-length
Scants
scant.
were not very long.
No, they were not.
Put an old man in those, and you just have
Balls.
hanging brain down there.
Oh no. I will say though, like speaking of talking earlier about the hair, Wyatt had a little too much party in the back.
It was the 80s.
I know.
He had party all over.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah.
wasn't like a mullet. He did have party all over. I liked him though.
I did. I
thought he
hated
was
his
really
haircut.
sweet.
He was a shitty
gonna-
drawer, though.
Drawer?
Drawer.
Yeah, what a great drawer you are.
No.
You know,
I
it's
would,
a drawer where you put your clothes.
yeah. I would never have recognized Chica from Wyatt's drawings, though.
Well, yeah, she had a much narrower nose than he
All
illustrated.
the
it.
sketches look like they were of different women. I don't know how Deanna looks and says, like, oh, there's this one woman you've been drawing a lot, huh? Maybe that's because she's an empath. Did anyone forget that she's an empath?
I think she might have been able to sense something. And I loved how snotty Majel Barrett was about them, like, using their telepathy. And then she was talking about how everyone she's ever met has had a huge boner for her, and she brings that shit up at the rehearsal dinner to stir up some shit between Mr. and Mrs. Wyatt.
God, she is such a professional shit stirrer.
I'll say this, though, that backless dress looked good.
It actually
Majel
did.
Barrett's
I thought it
looking
looked good
great.
on her.
You know, for someone who prides herself on being able to communicate without words, you would think that she would also try to not use her fucking facial expressions. But you notice that anytime she was thinking words at Deanna, she was like...
For those of you at home, Jake is pulling a lot of crazy faces.
I mean, how else do you tell an actor to act this scene? Especially Majel Barrett.
Because it's a stupid plot device.
Well, yeah, but she had to be dynamic to make it interesting.
No,
I mean, if she hadn't done that, it would have been
if
boring.
she just stood there stoically and had an argument with Deanna, who was also standing there stoically.
Then it would be a fucking full minute of watching two actresses standing stoically.
That would no, it would have been all because it was in the elevator. Is the moment I'm thinking of, where they were in the elevator together.
No, because they did the same thing in the transporter room. So
yeah,
Happened a
I'm
couple
thinking.
times,
I'm thinking of the transporter room, and that would have been a great shot of just Picard standing there in the fucking perfectly silent elevator. Except you have this argument going on behind, and he can't tell, but he can pick it up. But he can't because he obviously has no empathic sense whatsoever.
He's just standing there and at one point he's very quietly starts scratching his ass a little.
Were his ganglia out sensing a threat?
so going back to Ariana, so how the fuck did Wyatt know to draw this chick forever?
Well, she knew to draw him.
Well, how did she know to draw him?
Because they were fucking linked. They were
How?
they were soulmates.
Why?
There was some kind of
What did these
scene.
fucking the Torellian race?
Come on,
What did they have to do?
Isn't it romantic?
No, it's creepy and wrong.
There was some scene where Mama Troi
He's doomed to die now.
No, he's a
He's
doctor.
gonna go cure space AIDS.
Doesn't look like
He's
that
gonna
good
go
a
and
doctor.
play doctor. Maybe.
He's gonna go cure their disease and then go, oh shit, we gotta repopulate your species. There's
There's only
like
8 of you.
I'm
gonna
4 of
bang
you are
the
women.
whole ship.
Yep.
Yep, and
He's even gonna bang Baldy there.
in 200 years, there's just going to be a species of all mullets and bad red sweaters.
Yeah, yeah. Why was their ship a fucking disco ball? What the fuck up with that?
Yeah, what? I noticed that too. I was like, what is this weird orb just hanging out here?
It
looked like they all looked like fucking extras from a really shitty music video.
It looked like something out of like the original Battlestar Galactica. Like there's the set.
Oh god, the captain's chair. I hated.
Oh
the
yeah,
captain's
that
chair.
It
shows
looked
up
like a
later,
piece
too.
of workout equipment.
Yeah, with the weird
that shows
spheres.
up again too.
Oh, no.
I've seen that in other episodes.
I was thinking because at first I was like, it's like it's left over from 60s Star Trek. It's like, no, it's not that bad. It looks like it's from fucking Space Mutiny, actually.
Yeah, like Space
The
Mutiny.
bad 80s hair, the bad cardboard set.
Some 80s shitty sci-fi knockoff TV show. Like
Yeah.
the sets, yeah. Like the view screens that were just like psychedelic patterns
Yeah.
and like, what the fuck was this? Who designed this shit?
Well, feeding into your theory, too much free love happening, spreading leprosy, space leprosy,
They're AIDS, the AIDS
Wearing
shit.
little tube tops. Go on.
not wearing condoms.
I gotta say, though, it must have been super creepy for Wyatt, because, like, he had his weird little sketches, but he kept them mostly to himself.
Yeah.
He gets to the ship and finds out that basically he's the Messiah. Like, it's a very different level.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
he's beaten off to his drawings. Meanwhile, they're being worshipped on their
Yeah,
ship.
the 8 people that are like, we knew you would come. And he's like, I mean, not
I
right
did
now.
come.
I came all right.
I like that we all went in the same direction on
I
the
thought you
boat.
did that on purpose.
I mean,
So
what is
why-
this show?
Why did they... So they were explaining it like they had like late 20th century, like the fucking Yar scene.
Oh, that annoyed
Where
me,
they had,
but they
like-
somehow have warp drive.
They have like a spaceship with transporters and other accoutrements. Like they're obviously not
Just late 20th.
well beyond 20th century. But the whole thing was nope, they got AIDS, and
Well-
that was a thing that was contemporaneous to the show.
Their
They just-
20th century might have just been more advanced than ours.
Well, then it's not...
No, they were saying it was they were at an equivalent
Oh.
level
No, that is
of
incorrect.
Earth's 20th century.
Well, who said that?
Yar?
That person was wrong.
Well, obviously.
Or they were
Fucking
still...
Yar, isn't she like the head of security? What the fuck does she know about
Or
technological anything? Fuck off, Yar.
Or they were still clinging to the then canon idea that warp was going to be invented in the late 90s. Because remember, a lot of the stuff about the 90s they predicted hadn't been proven wrong by 1987.
That's true.
You know, the eugenics war still could have happened. Zephram Cochrane could have invented warp drive in 96 or 97, whatever it was.
Yeah, they're from Cochrane.
Cochrane. Nice.
But yeah, no, I actually had I actually had the same note, just being like, that
About
is
cock
not...
rings? What was your note, Chris?
But yeah, I actually had a similar note. Yeah. So Trellians had late
Look,
20th
Chris.
century knowledge, but they also had warp drive? Like, that just seemed... Oh, that also annoyed me, just looking at my notes here. Aren't there other doctors on the Enterprise? Because
No.
when Wyatt mentions he's a valuable
I said that
pathologist,
too, yeah.
Crusher's like, it's so good to have a medical colleague.
What
It's
the
like,
fuck? There's like hundreds of doctors on this ship.
It's enormous!
But she doesn't consider any of them her colleagues.
Yeah,
And
seriously.
also, she's just hungry for the D.
That's true.
I mean, if the following episode shows us
Oh,
anything, it's
dear
she's willing to
Lord.
go to weird extremes for the D.
Oh,
Speaking of it, what other notes do you have before we get to the following episode?
so this also kind of annoyed me. When, as I put it, Riker was being a poop on the holodeck. You know, they're sitting there arguing. And then somehow Wyatt quietly sneaks on.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though holodeck doors are normally the loudest doors and like, and when Riker leaves a minute later, they do put the Foley in so you hear the door opening and closing. But somehow Wyatt managed
He's a
to open
doctor.
them.
Maybe it didn't close.
All right, all
after
right, all
the
right.
data.
Ooh. I have a fucking theory about that.
He was hiding out the whole time.
Nope, better. Okay, here's my theory. So Riker went to the holodeck to sulk and to splay
Watch
out on a
some harping
rock.
women.
And he got an idea. He's like, man, I bet you Troi realizes that I left the party early and she'll seek me out and she'll come here and try to console me. I'm going to catch her. So while the party was still going on and he was there, he coded up a holographic Wyatt to come in at just the opportune moment, and then he could test Troi to see if she'd do the old, the dog goes to the two owners, so he could test her to see who would she go towards.
And then he took a bunch of Troi food and put it in his pocket.
Come on, let's be real. He already had the Troi food in his pocket.
Oh, I thought he was just happy to see me. Heyo.
But at any rate, and obviously she failed the test, and that's why he left. And then, so she's in there for hours banging Wyatt, obviously. And then as she leaves, she's like, all right, come on, Wyatt, let's go. And he's like, I can't leave. I'm a hologram. And then there's a big,
I'd say yes, but I don't think holodecks have this capacity yet, as we learn in The Big Goodbye, when they're suddenly, dumbfounded by how real-looking people are.
Yeah, that...
Anyway, before we jump into that, anything else on Haven?
That's all my stuff, I think.
Did you say Heyman?
Hyman.
Hyman. Well,
Homan.
there was none of those in this episode.
Yes.
Oh boy.
But yeah, that's everything I had. It was overall, it was again, I think somehow I know on a realistic, logical level that it wasn't actually a very good episode, but Data and Picard delighted me enough that I like it more than I should have.
Haven?
Yeah. It wasn't good, but they amused me.
I didn't hate it. I liked the petty bickering, and I liked...
Yeah, that was great.
I liked having Majel Barrett back, and I loved watching Data be amused. And...
Oh, and Lurch's being like, hey, assholes, I can talk at the end was kind of great.
Yeah, that was a classic TOS laugh line ending.
It was.
I think that's why I didn't care for it. I liked the sad, depressing, this whole ship is dying plot. And I thought the rest was silly, like any of the other comedies that I don't like.
Again,
James continues to hate fun.
Well, I continue to hate fun.
The plague ship should have been the focus. You could have somehow done that story better without the whole marriage thing.
I think they wanted to give Majel a big character and kind of maybe formed it around that.
They, you know who?
Yeah.
It wasn't a they. It was one person. It was you got to give her a part.
Yeah.
And
Bill
creepy black contact lenses.
Yep.
But
continue with the petty bickers.
To your point that you wanted more focus on the plague ship plot, I would counter that the plague ship plot was only slapped into this episode to give everyone an out from the whole wedding thing.
I thought it was a good resolution.
And I solved it partway through.
Did you? Nice job, Caitlin.
I was like, Girlface is going to be on the ship, and Wyatt's going to go on the ship, and he's going to get plague, and he won't be able to leave.
Oh, good job, Caitlin.
Yeah, I was pretty happy. I'm not always the quickest. Not always really good at following these plots, but this time I got it.
I don't think Picard actually even asked the people on Haven if the plague people could live there. He said that he would.
Oh yeah.
I don't think he called them up. Oh yeah, I'll ask. I'll
ask. They said.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Chick
not a good time
from
now.
Haven wanted Picard to just shoot them out of the sky.
Yeah.
Without even asking.
I feel like that was going a little Larry David with you too. They ever done that? Larry David's Captain Picard? That'd be an amusing sketch.
That would be good.
Very exciting.
Anyway, I'm going to jump into The Big Goodbye,
which
won an Emmy for outstanding costumes in a series.
I could see that. The costume was quite great.
Everyone looked great.
But especially
Dana.
Patrick Stewart and Brent Spiner. They looked astounding.
Gates looked good too.
Huh?
Gates good.
Oh no, they all look good.
Hubba, wahooga!
Wow.
But those two in particular really...
You're a pretty good-looking broad, whatever the fuck that cop said.
I'd like to stick it in your vagina hole.
Oh no!
Have a piece of gum.
Hey.
There were some things that annoyed me though, right?
Oh no!
Right.
Was
Right
it
off the bat?
Right.
Because actually the fun in this one balanced well that I enjoyed it.
No, so here's some little things that annoyed me. Everyone and their mother in Star Trek has the biggest erection for the 20th century.
Oh, of course they do.
But Picard doesn't know what baseball is.
Yeah.
They don't have gum in the 24th century because the Doctor seems perplexed by it. Picard...
Well, maybe it just comes in a different form.
Maybe. Doesn't know how to,
suppository in the future.
You don't have to know
who... your butthole?
Yep.
You don't have to know who Joe DiMaggio is to know how to say DiMaggio. You just have to kind of know how Earth languages work. And he sure as fuck knows how Earth languages work.
In his defense,
he's French.
French is a dying language.
Yeah. but he speaks it. It's a Romance language. DiMaggio's an Italian name. He should have been able to put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, but like you probably don't even pronounce G's in French.
I don't know if I can. I haven't taken it in years.
It's a me. Not.
That's good, Jake.
I don't know. I'm just trying to get rid of the negative bullshit early so we can just focus on everything that was good. But
Can I have some negative bullshit?
What's your
go ahead.
negative bullshit?
I thought this episode sucked dicks!
You didn't like this episode? Did you not see Data in that suit?
I thought that this episode was such shit in terms of the writing.
Well, because nothing happened.
Because nothing happened!
Like, nothing at all really happened.
Like-
Like there was no real... Go on, I'm sorry.
So
I'm with you, though.
The whole time of
Whoa.
this episode, all I could think about
I'm also with you.
is that,
Brett looks great.
yeah, there were some good parts. I'm not going to say that it was all bad, but I will say that the writing on this episode, garbage. Because here's the thing.
Ooh.
Literally, this episode is the holodeck breaks. And then we stand in a room for the remaining episode and have a Mexican standoff for 40 minutes.
Yes!
In one room.
It was so long.
And it's just like, but what about this thing? And I'm gonna say some more stuff. Hey, boss, can I shoot him? But then they'll do this other
Yeah.
thing.
The sniveling sidekick was
And then,
really
like,
Oh,
and
but
it's
his Peter Lorre impression was pretty good.
it was okay.
But like,
It's better than I could do. Let's hear your Peter Lorre impression.
Well, I mean, it's not going to be good at all, but it'll be better than his.
that's
Just sort of sound like
weird.
Kiff
That's
from-
pretty good.
from-
I thought that was
Chris does a good kiff. We've learned
But
this.
either way,
Sex.
like
Lex.
that Mexican standoff scene, which was 60% of the episode,
It was
one
so
scene
Yes, I'll
was
accept
just
that.
this is my big problem with the holodeck episode. We're gonna have another one that's just as bad in terms of the Mexican standoff bullshit, just sitting around talking when we get to the Moriarty episode next season. Only it's worse because it's just Moriarty and Pulaski sitting around talking. And it's just...
Doesn't Data get to dress as Sherlock Holmes, though?
Well, yeah.
Okay, then I'm fine. We're good.
See,
Sign me up.
I do remember thinking at one point, I feel like a better episode just would have been strike the stupid... strike the fact that there's a malfunction. Strike the whole stupid, I have to go talk to these asshole bugs.
Yeah, I was dumb.
And just have it be Captain Picard plays his video game. And
That's
just
fine.
tell a fun detective story and have the sort of because then you can have just Picard, Data, and Crusher. You don't need Lieutenant Asshole or whatever to get shot.
Waylon.
Waylon, thank you. You could have just been, let's take this weird sort of break. Because I had assumed maybe that was kind of the idea originally of the holodeck, was a cheap way to be able to be let's do not a Star Trek story, even though it still is.
It's not cheap because it's still you have to the sets. You have to build new sets.
Oh no, sorry, not cheap as in
It's
inexpensive.
cheap as in
Cheap as an intellectual speaking?
Yeah, let's cheat, I guess, more than cheap, and just be let's have an excuse to not do Star Trek, but this. And also, in theory, if they were just using stuff on the backlot, they still could have saved money.
That's true.
I assume a lot of those sets were extant from other Paramount properties.
Possibly, and I'll agree with that. I think, okay, yes, I agree. The stupid talking to the aliens thing, stupid.
Yeah.
I got really, really distracted by that because I kept thinking, why don't they use a universal translator? Why don't they record Picard getting it right once and then play that? Because they're not even watching him
Yeah,
talk.
no, that's true.
They don't have the screen on.
But-
Why is Picard playing his video games when he's supposed to be having an ambassador meeting with these fucking bug creatures who did horrible things to the last people that disrespected them?
Well-
how were they not disintegrated as soon as they were oh, the captain's not here right now?
Well, but here's but that's the thing. That's part of my problem with these insect fuck faces. Because again, whenever they have these overly polite dickheads in Star Trek and probably other science fiction properties, it's always everyone has to follow their rules and be really nice to them, but they get to be scumbags to everybody. So they show up wicked fucking early, even though I'm sure if anyone dared show up early for their due, they'd be but they get to show up and be where's your captain? And no one's allowed to go, you are 4 fuck me hours early, you praying mantis cunts. Back the fuck off.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a trope I find so tiresome.
Don't you speak about Zorak that way.
But okay, so strike that plot.
Yes.
I'm
yes, please.
okay with the holodeck breaking down, because I think that you can't. I don't think you can honestly do a Star Trek episode that is just them hanging around in the holodeck without anything remotely related to Star Trek in it.
But you have the actors.
Yeah, but
you
no.
can still have them being like, we don't understand the past.
No, here's
Look
what
how cool the holodeck is.
You put.
I wonder if we can bang these people too.
Yes.
You put. You have the holodeck malfunction, and then you have the people in the holodeck spend the episode trying to find a way to get out without getting killed. And you actually have Ensign Ricky get killed, not just injured, but killed. And that, like, really, what the holodeck episode should be. So here's the thing: in the 60s, they would have just gone to Gangster Planet, and that would have been their gangster episode. They would have gone back. They would have met Oxmix. They would have the whole nine. But they don't. But they're not doing that type of shit anymore. That's campy.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, we want to do Gangster Planet. We really want to do that. Like, that was so much fun. They get to dress up. They get to talk like
Piece
gangsters.
of the action.
You get to put, Yoda. I mean, Data in a fancy hat. And
Yoda
he
would not work in a fancy hat.
No, I don't know. I think Yoda would look great in a hat.
I don't think
He
so.
gets to talk funny. So, like, we get to do this old-timey episode. And then they're like, well, yeah, we can't just do an away mission.
Look up a picture of Yoda in a hat.
So they end up, so they put it in the holodeck, but they really don't do anything with the episode. There's nothing interesting that happens.
So, Jake, I think, and I might be wrong because I haven't seen this happen in a long, long time, but I think Star Trek does this for you with Our Man Bashir.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically what you're asking for, is like, find a way to have a malfunction, but have that sort of be the point and trying to figure a way out of it.
I love that episode.
That's a great episode.
That's not Yoda in a hat.
But
I mean, it's so funny. It's
Yeah.
campy fun.
Yeah.
Our members here is pretty close to,
What you were asking for in a way.
But that's several years from now.
Yeah. I'm just saying that it's like someone did have similar complaints to Jake and does eventually fix them.
And here's the other thing too is that and then DS9 actually found other ways to do the old timey episode, like Far Beyond the Stars is another. But regardless, I'm not going to talk
That
about
one
this
I don't
now.
Yeah, let's not talk about things.
So-
Let's talk about this episode that
Wait,
we watched.
no, actually, Jake, your talk made me think of something else.
Is it another episode of DS9?
No, but it does loop back to this one and Oxmix.
Okay.
Because everyone always talks about, the big debate, Kirk, Picard, whatever. Who looks better in an old-timey hat?
Oh, I'm going to vote Picard.
I think they both look pretty good.
They
I'd
don't
have
look
to see
good.
them.
Handsome
I'd have
men.
to see them side to side.
Like, really,
Yeah.
like
Let's make a poll on
Picard and
Facebook.
Data
Ooh, that's a good
in
idea.
old suits, or Kirk and Spock.
Oh, but when you add Data to the mix, it is clearly the TNG that wins.
Yeah, and, the other thing, so the fucking Mexicans, and because they don't do anything to resolve the situation.
No.
They literally wait
Until
Wesley
Yeah.
opens the door.
No, here's what I actually really liked in this episode, and I thought it was fucking fascinating, and they could write a fucking book on this. When you make fictional characters in the holodeck aware that they're fictional, it's heartbreaking and beautiful. Like that poor detective who realizes at the end,
my God.
does my wife and kids still exist when you go out that door? Do I still exist when you go out that door? And he has an existential crisis, even though he's a computer program.
Yeah, they made
And
that
I
program
loved
a
that.
little too good.
Are they gonna do you think they fix that? Was that like a bug? They're like, we
No.
really can't have these creatures doing this.
I can understand how you would feel like, oh yeah, that's a good thing, this episode, but there's other holodeck episodes that do the same thing.
Well, I haven't seen
You
them
haven't seen
yet.
them yet.
So.
Well, this time it's
I
new.
really like that detective guy, so there.
It makes you think of, did any of you watch Reboot back in the day?
Yeah.
I don't think I did.
I don't know.
So, the whole premise of Reboot
Oh, it
was
was
that...
like a really crappy CG, 1990s.
Well, for early 90s television,
I don't know. I don't remember.
the CG was better than you'd think it would be.
True, it's probably on par with Hoodwinks.
Yeah, like
a
the
film
fact...
from 2004.
the fact
Reboot?
Yeah, the fact that it's, 20-odd years old, and it was TV, and it was weekly.
No, you're right.
But the whole premise was it took place inside a computer.
Yes.
And when the owner of the computer would play a game, a game cube would drop from the sky, and people in the world would become the sort of enemies and NPCs in the game.
Oh, bad.
And whenever the player won, it would, destroy a huge chunk of the city, and any of the citizens inside would turn into these little slug monsters called nulls, and it was just like, wow, thanks for making me feel bad about every time I stomp a Goomba.
What a weird thing.
Yeah, it was yeah. But it just made me think of that. It's like, oh god, you're a self-aware player in a game. This is horrifying. How do you live with that? Yeah, of course, in reality, when they turned it off, it probably just reset his memory, and he has no idea.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, just looking at a still photograph of the character designs and the
in Reboot
and the style,
yeah,
I can already predict exactly how they moved. It was like
very stiff.
But it aired from 94 to 2001. I mean, that's like not...
Well, that was with like a big gap.
A lot of big gaps. No, I know.
But again, for 1994 and weekly TV, it didn't look too bad.
All right, we're gonna do this.
And it's actually, honestly, a pretty good show.
But yeah, that made me think of that. The whole like characters knowing they're in a game was a big part of that show, and I thought of that here with this poor bastard.
Oh, he was great.
He was.
I can't tell if I liked Cyrus Redblock, who was played by Lawrence Tierney from...
Oh, I know that name.
Reservoir Dogs?
Yeah, he was the guy. That's why I knew him. Plus, like, it wasn't a great Peter Lorre impression that guy was doing, but they didn't even have this guy try to do Sidney Greenstreet. And Sidney Greenstreet was similarly, like, he had a very distinctive, easily sort of parodied way of talking. And it's like they kind of had him do it, but not really. That's just sort of how that guy talks, now that I know who he is.
Sidney Greenstreet was from Maltese Falcon? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and a couple other old-timey films. Yeah. And yeah, again, there was sort of this problem of, like, they tried to make you be like, oh no, poor... I've forgotten his name again already. Wayland has been shot. Oh no. Also, again, like, they introduce him, oh, let's get the ship's historian. But then he's a fiction expert, and it's just like, wait, what? Because my note was even like...
He was always a fiction expert.
No, when they first introduced him, he said...
He was a 20th century expert of some kind.
Yeah, but...
If they weren't going to kill him, why not just make it...
Riker.
Or
someone you care about.
Yeah, or
Yar.
the doctor.
Worf.
You know, she's already
Crusher.
in there. Yeah.
Or, again, anyone we already...
Because they wouldn't rip open her shirt to show the wound. That's why.
Geordi, then.
I mean, I have to say, Picard really did want to crush her this episode.
Oh, my.
They were they're like, oh, let's go. I want to go check out your office. Yeah, let's go check out the office. And Data's like, I'm coming too! and they're like, and you could see the look in their eyes like, oh, we were going to fuck.
Well, being fair,
on your well-appointed desk.
Picard missed the hints earlier as well. When she was like, oh, I'd like to see this thing. He's like, that's a great idea. Ooh, and call the historian. And she's like, oh, for Jesus Christ, Jean-Luc.
So
which, by the way...
Maybe he's just not that into you, Crusher.
I always assumed it was the other way around, and she wasn't into him. But I really can't tell what the fuck their sexual tension is.
It seems to vary from episode to episode.
I mean, really, pretty much after she leaves and comes back for season 3,
it's gone.
It's never back. Like that. Yeah, I mean, they're just old friends.
Yeah.
Eventually.
So I did love that the way it was structured. They called that meeting to discuss the like diplomatic thing, but because the way it was written at first, it just looked like Picard had called a meeting to tell everyone about his new video game.
I thought the same thing.
Like, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
And it's like, is this... I legit, partway through looking at it, I was like, is this really happening? Did he call a meeting to tell them about this?
He did turn to me and say that.
But then someone went like, so, now the actual reason we're here. And it's like, oh, it wasn't to brag about your PS12 and your new game?
And I think at that point I said something like, it would still have been a more useful meeting than any work meeting I've ever had, even if it just was about the PlayStation 12 game.
Yeah.
I wrote a note about something that happened during that meeting, and I forget what it was about, but the note was, what does Wesley think teenage mating rituals are?
Oh, yeah. What the fuck?
What was the context of that? Because I've forgotten why I took this note.
They were just discussing random shit. Oh! Automobiles and how they ended up being central to teenage mating rituals.
And Wesley perks up like, what?
Which,
and not you, Wesley. No one will ever with you.
They didn't seem to know how to say automobile, which was ridiculous.
I don't think you're saying automobile correctly.
What did I say?
I don't know. It sounded weird for me for some reason. Automobile. But I think I may have just said it the same way.
But they're like, automobile. And it's like, yeah, no, it's automobile. Well, it's car, really, but, you know. I didn't have a ton of notes, because, I mean, it is true. Like you said, Jake, like... Not a ton literally actually happens.
That winter scene in the holodeck looked pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
They did a great job with the continuity between that and the... and where they were placed in the room.
That's true.
That looked really good.
That was one thing. At one point, when you know, Picard is trying to explain to the Hollow people what's going on. I was like, oh, he's trying to Kirk this, and it's not gonna work.
Oh, he can't talk them to death.
No,
although he kind of does, because fucking, I want to call him Oxmix, because now we're stuck there.
Whatever.
Red Block goes out into the hallway with Dumbfuck.
Yeah.
And start vanishing.
I'm amazed they can go that far.
I don't think they. No, I don't think they
and
can go
like,
that
why
far.
are they disappearing from the feet up? And
It was so he could have time to be all like, I'm fucking Red Block's mix.
Red Block's mix. I'm a gangster guy. Don't you know who I am?
do.
But those men just died. Like that's
Well, that's the thing though.
like
I mean,
you feel bad for the guy that's stuck in the holodeck. I feel bad for the two men that died.
Well,
But
no, the
that's
guy
what I mean.
stuck on the holodeck knows what's going on. The two guys that run out, like, they didn't get a chance to understand.
Surely when you reset the program, they're back too, right? Like they're not. He hasn't just
That's what I
permanently
would
broken
assume, yeah.
the game,
Yeah,
and
I
they're
don't
just
know,
not there.
The way data, not the character, but computer data
Yeah.
works in Star Trek is bizarre because it does almost seem like you can't back anything up, that everything is just
That's always been an issue with
like,
Star Trek.
yeah, it's just like there's one copy of everything, and once it's gone, it's gone.
It felt like time had kept going when he had left and come back, because by the time he came back,
Yeah.
it was all like,
Yeah.
oh, the chick is dead now, and
Well,
you're wanted
it's
for
true.
murder,
Well, I
because
think that
you're
was
the
just because
PI.
he forgot to turn it off. No, he did.
He
turn
did.
it
He
off.
said save current settings or whatever.
Yeah, that's weird.
You know, it was. He wasn't at a proper save point. He was out of ribbons or something.
Well, you know what it is? It's like Animal Crossing, where, like, even though it's
The
not really
clock
happening in
is
the
still-
background, it's real time happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the fucking this is one of the times when the Wesley saves the day is
Deus Ex Wesley.
it's just so fucking forced and shitty and wrong.
This little
Look through
little
this-
doohickey looks cool.
Look through this jeweler's.
I mean, you
Yes,
know, with
check
this
the
one,
carat of this
thing.
diamond.
with this one, it wasn't as egregious, if only because, in a way, I was a little more willing to buy it, just because maybe
Where was Argyle this week?
still
God
on the
damn it,
still on
Argyle.
the bender. But I was willing to buy, like, yeah, maybe because of the nature of his impairment, like, Geordi is less effective with that little.
Oh, the equipment?
So-
yeah, but there are other
That's
engineers.
just
There are
fucking
probably
ableist.
dozens of engineers on this 1,000-person
They are
ship.
all with Argyle on his bender.
Also, but no, because there were like four other dudes
Just standing
like
there, yeah.
standing there, and like they were.
Well, the other main.
But they aren't in the cast.
The huge issue I just had was, if this goes wrong, the real people will vanish. What?
Yeah, well, because I think they haven't figured out what the holodeck is or how it works. I think at this time, the idea with the holodeck is...
If you die in the game, you die in real life.
Yeah. No, that the idea in the holodeck is they're actually, like, replicating people and matter and things like that. Or something.
So it would just strike all matter.
So yeah,
without being able to
and
tell
that's
the
why
difference.
like you have to leave to turn it off. You can't like in the later we see just end program and everything vanishes. But I guess the idea here is that when it clears,
it
does a sweep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe that was the idea.
Yikes.
Yeah, they definitely don't seem to quite have a handle on the tech yet.
Yeah. I have to say though, if like euthanasia is legal by this time in the future. What a cool way to go! Just like go to like the holodeck,
Eaten by a whale.
go to the hollow euthanasia center and be like, I want to go out in the old west or
Jake. Everyone just goes out in a huge orgy. You know
I
it.
was gonna say, fuck to death is the way to go.
Death by Schnoo.
I want to be fisted by Andre the Giant.
That's weirdly specific, Jake.
The Giant.
I can't think of any better way to commit suicide.
Andre the Giant.
Oh my.
Just turn off the safeties and sacrifice me to a volcano.
Is this why you bought the Vive, Jake?
Yeah, it's right. I bet there is porno on there.
There is.
Absolutely, yeah.
Look at that reboot chick.
No.
The start of the... Well, no, not even the start of the Great Tradition, because, again, as we discussed, there was that time in TAS.
It counts.
The TAS holodeck, whatever they called it, and it broke.
Well, it got taken over by a jokester.
Close enough. There was a malfunction.
alien
So you
thing.
have to change clothes before entering the holodeck, or the characters notice?
Apparently.
That felt weird to me.
Yeah. It's true. You gotta go. Yeah. You gotta
Like it can.
You have to play Halloween, and Picard didn't know what Halloween was, which was strange.
Halloween.
The program is smart enough to
Who
go
is he,
like.
Spock?
Ha. Spock would have known because he knows random.
No, Spock
Human
didn't.
shit.
Spock didn't know trick or treat.
That's true. He didn't. I forgot about that. Yeah, no. The program is smart enough to like recognize. Okay, you are now Dixon Hill, but I'm going to recognize that your clothes are funky. So that does seem contradictory. You think you would have to explain to it that he's Dixon Hill, but it knows, so it's just like, wait a minute. But again, that was just an excuse to put our actors in slick 40s.
Oh,
Yeah, but why doesn't the holodeck just holodeck up some like a skin?
I feel like we talked about this once.
We may have.
But yeah, no, I don't know. It was mostly just for the sake of comedy. So they could go like, what's with the bellhop outfit?
I wish instead of like having to get dressed up, it would just like make you holographic clothes.
Yeah.
So you had to go in there naked.
No.
Or at least in your skivvies.
Majel Barrett would do it. Not Majel, but
Lux
Lwaxana Troi would do it.
In your we could see if they still have those awful Starfleet issue
Underpants?
yeah, the like weird in Enterprise the men have these
This is a thing.
yeah. The standard issue underwear for men are like royal blue boxer briefs and a really clingy tank top. So it looks like they're in a onesie, but they're not because they are actually two different items, like separate briefs and a top. But you can't really tell unless someone moves in such a way that you can see the seam. Because otherwise it looks like they're in just a creepy. And the women have just like a sports bra and boy shorts, I think is the cut called.
And they have to.
The blue jizz, as we discussed in the first episode.
They have to do the blue.
But yeah, no, the men's underwear in Enterprise is just the worst. Because again, it looks like they're in a bizarre adult onesie.
See a lot of their junk?
Enough, I guess. Yeah, there's some bulges.
Awesome. Anyway, I've run out of notes.
On that note about Enterprise bulges.
And blue jizz.
It always comes back to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Comes back.
Yeah.
Oh, I did also read that it was originally suggested that they filmed the noir scenes in black and white.
Ooh.
But the producers came up with the excuse that the holodeck couldn't change the appearance of the crew.
That's not
So they
true.
decided not to do that.
That gets contradicted later.
That does.
I figure.
But-
I assume it does.
That's years later, even in continuity, so maybe
That's
holodecks
true.
just get better.
It's true. They could have improved
Well, yeah, I
technology.
mean, the tech seems to be pretty new.
But yes, there is in fact a black and white episode of Voyager.
in the
fun.
in the holodeck.
Yes, yeah. One little cute, I guess, sort of thing they did was if you looked closely when Data was reading the Dixon Hill stories.
Super fast, like a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Data.
Whenever
God damn
there
it.
was a cover
And
page and you could see the author's name, the author of all the Dixon Hill stories
Tracy Torme.
was just the name of the episode writer.
Yep. I
Which
saw
I thought
that.
was a nice
I
touch.
saw that.
Cute.
It was cute.
Yeah, I liked that. I think we're about ready to take this ship home to I'm still trying to think of some sort of pithy sort of
With
1940s gangster Data way to be like the long road to something that's like a bad western.
Tradition.
Jake, just
Jake,
get
give
us out.
us, hey Jake, give us the big goodbye.
Ah.
Here comes a big goodbye. This has been a status steer by. This has been a status steer by.
You're a Kennedy.
Yeah.
What voice
That
is
Bobby.
this now?
Bobby.
Yikes.
My brother Bobby's gonna be the Attorney General.
Are you drunk enough to sleep with me yet? Answer the question. Fucking love that show so much.
With that,
This has been a Star to Steer Her By. We're a Star Trek podcast. You can find us online at SSHB Podcast on Twitter and Tumblr. You can also search for us on Facebook. Just search for A Star to Steer Her By on Facebook. You can download this and any other episodes on our SpongeBob page.
SpongeBob.
What's the name of the thing?
SoundCloud.
SoundCloud, on our SoundCloud page. We're also on anywhere that podcasts. You can subscribe to us on iTunes and Google Tunes.
no, I still haven't figured out how to get us on there.
Is that like Google Foo?
No, I think it's on Google. I know we're on Google. I saw
Look
us.
up
We're
the next
there.
two episodes
Okay.
while you're
We're
there because
totally
I forgot to write them down.
Oh, sure. Yes.
I've been so
But yeah,
spacey all week.
so you can
honey.
find us on any of those platforms. Of course, we always appreciate a nice, honest review. 1 to 5 stars is typical. You know, anything 3 and above we like. So,
I can't wait, though, till they consider maybe allowing a 6th star, but then we have to contend with a wacky monkey nearly screwing up our steez.
Or if it's Netflix, you can just give a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
I'm so sad they got rid of proper stars.
Our next 2 episodes.
They got rid of stars on Netflix?
Yeah, it's just a thumbs up or a thumbs down now.
Well, then how do you have a gradient? How do you say what you actually really
That's what I want to know!
Exactly. That's what's
That's
bullshit.
what fucking
Because that's like
Pandora
I
does.
either love something or I hate it. I can't be like,
It's okay.
It was okay.
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah.
I would watch more in this genre, but I don't know about this one again.
Yeah, it's like anything Marvel to me is like, you know.
Except Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones
Really?
is fucking phenomenal.
Oh God,
Still have to watch that.
All right. Well, anyway,
Yes.
so of course, these were 2 episodes.
Were they?
Next week we'll do 2 more episodes as we do.
Brilliant!
What
a plan!
Next most weeks. So obviously this week we met an iconic character in Loxana Troi.
Yep.
Next week we will meet another iconic character in Data Lore. Data Lore. And then we'll see a piece of shit when we watch Angel 1. Angel! No! Angel 1!
Oh boy.
So yeah, there's some
Jake has gone a little potty.
Data Lore. I don't know, Data Lore. This is the name. It's
No,
like,
it
it's
was
like, what are we going to
perfect.
name this episode? Oh, well, there's got a character named Data, a character named Lore. Let's just fucking push it together called Data Lore.
Let's just call this episode Caitlin, Amy, Caitlin, Jake. Chris,
Yeah.
Amy, Caitlin, Jake.
What the fuck is
That
Amy?
makes more sense for next week, doesn't it?
True.
Anywho, as I mentioned, this has been a star to steer her by. Of course, as always, tell your friends about us and tell them that they're jerks. If they're jerks. If they're not jerks, you can tell them whatever. I'm not going to tell you how to talk to people.
Tell them to listen to a different one first. We were a little punchy tonight, even for us.
This is the
What
best.
one aren't we punchy
This is
on?
the bomb diggity
No, this
boys.
one was pretty bad.
Yeah.
We're sorry.
All right. My name is Jake.
This is Chris.
This has been Ames.
And this is always Caitlin.
Have a fucking nice day.
Oh, I forgot to have us introduce ourselves at the opening. Oh well.
Yeah, you can copy paste.
Yeah, we're
You-
good. Well, they know who we are by now.
They know us. They
We're just a
do.
bunch of jerks. What if the replicator keeps a log of everything that you replicate?
Probably.
Wonder how many tissues the Crusher Quarters goes
No.
through.
Oh. Not as many as Riker's.
That's,
Well, I don't think Riker cleans up.